going to actually jump into our news segment. Our news segment today is going to be all about the future Lucasfilm projects that were revealed on Thursday, December 10th.
Well, you want the bad news or the really bad news?
So there's no bad news here, Ahsoka. StarWars.com has pretty much had a kind of a rundown of everything that was announced on Thursday, starting with Rogue Squadron, the next Star Wars feature film, which will actually be coming out Christmas of 2023. And this is going to be directed by Patty Jenkins, who directed Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984, I believe.
Yeah.
And for her to make this kind of film, I guess, has been a lifelong dream. Her father was a fighter pilot.
Yeah, you want me to play the?
Yeah.
Okay, let's play the trailer because the way she tells it, this whole thing just gives me chills.
Agreed.
I love to move fast and speed of any kind. I think that's because I grew up the daughter of a great fighter pilot, and every day I would wake up and go outside and look up and see my father and his squadron taking off in their F-4s roaring across the sky, and it was the most thrilling thing still I've experienced in my entire life. So when he lost his life in service to this country, it ignited a desire in me to turn all of that tragedy and thrill into one day making the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time. But try as I might and look as I did, I couldn't find the right story ever. I kept looking and looking, but I just couldn't find the right one until now. Now I found a movie about two things I love. So I'm going to see you very soon.
I think that is just an awesome story.
Full body chills every time.
Yeah. And, I'm wondering if the two things she loves are the whole fighter pilot thing and also Star Wars.
That would
possibly.
that makes sense.
She didn't really explicitly say what those two things were, but I think we get a feeling from that. Yeah, and what if we get the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time with Rogue Squadron? I mean, that's what she wants to do.
I don't even know what to say. I would be over the moon with that. This was like kind of like their. This was the one they saved for like almost. It might have been last, or next to last, or something like that. But this was kind of like
pretty close.
Their Apple Steve Jobs, like one more thing surprise. This one was probably like the one that finally finished me off. Like I was probably hyperventilating, passing out at that point.
Stick a fork in me. I'm done at this point.
Yeah. Man, we've talked about Rogue Squadron before and how much we kind of wanted to see something happen with that again. And this isn't going to be like, the games. This isn't going to be like those stories, the same thing over and over again. But I am so happy, so excited for this. This is probably top of my excitement list, actually.
Yeah, that is understandable, and it's very exciting. I love that we're going with Patty Jenkins here. I think she has shown that she's a great director with Wonder Woman, so I'm excited to see her kind of directing a Star Wars film.
Now,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Nicole. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if the movie ends up anything like even those few minutes that is pulling at your heartstrings, makes you want to cry, and you're still cheering, we are definitely in for a great movie from Patty Jenkins. I'm very much looking forward to that movie. And I think that clip is what sold my heart, because I was like, okay, I'm going to cry. Nope, I'm cheering now. Oh, this is going to be awesome. That's really was my emotion.
Right.
Watching it the first time.
To go along with what you said there, Nicole, Kathleen Kennedy said about Patty Jenkins that she's a visionary who knows how to strike the balance between action and heart. And I can't wait to see what she does in the Star Wars galaxy. So, just kind of like you mentioned, like the feels and the heart of it, but then also the great action and everything.
So I got a question about this one.
And I think that actually brings a great balance.
Yeah. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, agreed. And I think
Oh,
that's
yeah,
one of the
God.
reasons. No, I think it's one of the reasons why this fits so well is because it's not a director attached to a project. It's a director that has a passion for this in both aspects of what's going on. Both in Star Wars and in what the story is. You know, it's not like they're just they found someone that might fit for a Star Wars movie and then kind of let them work on this one. This is like she said she's been looking for this one for a long time, and to have it land in Star Wars, that's going to be pretty special.
Yeah, she's
Mhm.
obviously very heavily invested in this story,
I got
which
a
is always
question
good.
about this one. Where do we think this fits in timeline wise? Because Kathleen Kennedy, talked about and even in this article on StarWars.com, they say it's a high-speed thrill ride, and it will move the saga into the future era of the galaxy. And that's kind of been a point of discussion: is when this might take place. Is this post ROTJ? Moving towards the future that we know already with the First Order and that type of thing, or is this post TROS and moving into a new era of Star Wars overall?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I personally kind of
Well,
think it's ROTJ. I think it's between 6 and 7. But I can definitely see why, there's some room for interpretation there.
Mhm. I can see you understand going between 6 and 7, but I can also see them going after The Rise of
Mm-hmm.
Skywalker
yeah,
just to give them
this
a
could be
full
post.
clean
Yeah,
slate.
yeah, this could be
Mhm.
post episode
So,
9,
and
but
I'm like you.
later.
I'm
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm always open up for interpretation and
Mm-hmm.
where it's going to lead, and open. Because if you go in open, you're going to come out on the better end.
For
So,
sure.
Yeah, I mean the wording here. I mean, they're saying a new generation of starfighter pilots
Mm.
moving the saga into the future era of the galaxy. That all sounds to me like it's going to be going into the future. Beyond episode 9. So, I mean,
Could be. Could be.
it's interesting to go into because I could see this as being you know happening during the Empire versus the Rebellion time period. I could see it being post Return of the Jedi, like Adam said. Um, I didn't really anticipate that it could be after Rise of Skywalker until I read that wording right there. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with it.
Sure.
And
I,
next up, I'm sorry, Nicole, if you were going to say something
oh,
else about that.
oh, I was just going to say, I think it's definitely the movie out of the, not even out of the series, but out of the Star Wars movies that I'm definitely looking forward to. It's definitely on my high on my list.
For sure.
Hmm.
And then
That's
speaking
all.
of films, they also mentioned the Untitled Taika Waititi film that's going to be happening. And Kathleen Kennedy said Taika's approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and unique, which I totally
Not from
expected it to
Taika.
be.
It's going to be.
His enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are in for an unforgettable ride. So, of course, we don't have any details about this. We just know that he's attached to it.
Mhm.
Um, I have no idea. I have no predictions. I have no clue what this could be. So, um,
Mhm.
yeah, it'll be interesting. Do you guys have any theories or thoughts about what this might be?
Well, the good thing is that we got to already see him in Star Wars action just a little bit from season 1 with The Mandalorian. So
Mhm.
that's a good thing. 'Cause he really did deliver a good Mandalorian episode.
Yeah,
So I have hope that we're going to have a really good movie. But I do agree it's going to be a fresh, funny, hopefully action-packed still Star Wars movie.
if it's anything like Thor Ragnarok, but in Star Wars, I will be all about this movie. I because I loved Thor Ragnarok, so it's one of my favorite Marvel movies. So
Yeah, and the stuff that Taika's done with The Mandalorian, I loved that. Um, I have watched some of his other stuff, and we talked about What We Do in the Shadows before in the show, but that show is very um, hilarious, irreverent, but hilarious. I don't think we'll get that type of adult humor. I hope we don't. Uh,
mhm.
However, if it's along those lines with like comedy, I would be totally on board because it the stuff he does is just super funny.
For sure. And then they started talking about in this article some of the TV series that we're going to be getting. First up, and probably the one I'm most excited about, is the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And they announced that, and we got kind of a title card reveal that it's going to be called Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's not going to be called Kenobi or Obi-Wan or
Hmm.
Ben, old Ben. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we know that, and we also know that Hayden Christensen is going to be returning as Darth Vader, and they are going to have, well, let me look at this quote here, because um, the quote that I'm pulling here says, "This will be the rematch of the
That's yeah,
century," said Kenny. So we are going to see these two lock blades
Yes.
once more.
yeah.
Oh man, is this awesome
I'm
news?
thinking that has to be like a vision or a dream or I don't know. Because you have
I
to
think it's
think.
actually going to
You
happen.
think it'll
I think they're,
happen? Really?
yeah, yep, I
Me
do.
too. I agree.
Hmm.
It's gonna
Hmm.
happen.
Absolutely.
I wonder how that
Um,
would. I wonder how that would fit in everything. That would be interesting because you get the impression from episode 4 that they haven't really seen each other since then.
well, I mean, all he says
I
is,
guess there's room. I guess
when
there's
we
wiggle
last
room
met,
there.
I was the learner, and now I'm the master. So he could still, at this time, in this
Hmm,
time period, be the learner. You know what I mean? Technically,
Mhm.
maybe.
yeah. But I know you're all about you're all very protective
I
over the
don't know about
canon
that one.
stuff. So
No, I mean, I don't want to say I'm like super protective about it, but I just, for me, if that's another one of those things that you'll have to create like a headcanon space for.
yeah,
Because I
I
think it
don't
was
know.
always kind of maybe implied. So maybe I'm just getting that. So maybe maybe that's something you can just get over. But it's almost like one of those prequel to original trilogy things that you have to find a way to explain it. So I don't know.
For me, I just don't know how you make an Obi-Wan series and you don't put Darth Vader in there,
Have
and
to,
you
yeah,
don't
sure.
put
Have to
Hayden
have, yep,
Christensen
yep,
in that role, um and you have to have, I think, some kind of showdown. So I mean, and you don't want Obi-Wan going up against some other villain that we've never heard of or something. I mean, his conflict is with Anakin and Darth Vader, and his internal conflict is all about what happened and failing him, and in his training, possibly in his from his point of view, and um, just everything that happened with Order 66 and the creation of the Empire and the failure of the Jedi. I think he's going to be really struggling with those things, both internally, and it sounds like we're going to get a kind of a physical conflict as well.
yeah. And this
So,
is directed by Deborah Chow, so I got full faith in that.
mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am,
So
and to have Hayden back finally. This is such a long time coming. It's
it is, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and also, it says the series begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. Again, I'm looking very closely at wording. Um, so when I see that says begins 10 years after, we could see a possible time jump during this series, uh, um,
Mhm.
possibly. So that's just another thing to consider. We don't have a release date or anything on this, but they're going to be filming very soon.
Yeah,
So
I'm
moving.
very
Oh,
looking forward
yes.
to it.
Me
Oh,
me too.
sorry.
no, you're
No,
fine.
that's
But yeah, no,
okay.
I'm totally looking forward to it. Deborah Chow coming back again. We got to kind of see her in The Mandalorian. So again, we know she's got the chops to do it.
Hmm.
And I'm really excited. I do wonder because we know that we're getting an Ahsoka series. Will she also be making little cameos in
Mhm.
even in Obi-Wan? And maybe they won't tell us because she's already on set somewhere else. And
That would be
oh, look,
amazing,
there's so. Mm-hmm.
because Ahsoka and
So,
Obi-Wan are so very tied into Anakin and
huh,
his story and his fall. So, man,
hmm,
that would be great.
yeah, that's one of my little hopes. But I mean, again, I'm open. Whether it happens, it happens. It doesn't. Well, that's okay. But it would be pretty awesome if it happened. So we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah. Yeah, and it appears that they're really trying to connect all of these things. You know, they're having a few series that are set
Yeah.
kind of in that Mandalorian time period, and I think, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. One of
I
them
mean,
being,
well, before you jump into that,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
um, it was mentioned. I forget if it was actually during the presentation or maybe like on some news outlet reported it later that these stories like kind of connect into like a big climatic event, a climactic
yes,
story event.
Mhm.
So
yes,
Nicole mentioning Ahsoka showing up. I mean, that type of stuff could happen. Crossing over
Mhm.
into
hmm
other series. You think
Mhm.
Marvel with that type of thing because everything kind of connects
Exactly.
that
yes.
way, and
This
then
is what I've
you
been
have like
wanting
the
for years,
Infinity
Adam.
War, right?
I'm like,
Well,
follow
and
that
I
formula. It works. You know.
Yeah, and I think with John Favreau, part of with Dave Filoni in the helm a little bit, I think he's going to bring some of that with him. I
Mhm.
mean, he's also a Marvel guy. We have to remember he's not just 100% Star Wars. He's also Marvel. So I think they're bringing that a little bit and going, "Oh, no, 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 no. We got a surprise for you. We can actually intersect everything."
Mhm.
And kind of like Marvel, you're going to be going
Yeah,
through the universe and kind of having little cameos here and there. And I think that's
Right.
pretty awesome if you're
I love it.
willing to be open to it.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
that the fans that are open to that are going to absolutely love it, and the ones it's either going to be a love or hate.
I'm open and ready for it. Bring it on, connect it all. I love that stuff. I've been hoping for this for a while now. So yeah.
Mhm.
And speaking of, you mentioned Nicole, you mentioned Ahsoka maybe showing up in the Obi-Wan series, and that she's going to get her own show. So, um,
Yes.
and this Ahsoka Tano's story, written by Dave Filoni, will continue in a limited series starring Rosario Dawson and executive produced by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. And this also takes place during that Mandalorian time period. So that means it's after Return of the Jedi, which means it's kind of after those, obviously those events of Star Wars Rebels as well, and maybe looking
Maybe.
at this. Well, I don't know about the last
That
scene,
epilogue thing, yeah, right.
but I'm
The
saying,
rest of it, yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, but we could definitely see a search, maybe a search for Ezra,
Right.
definitely a search for Thrawn going on
Mhm.
here. Thrawn,
That's what I
I'm
think we're
thinking he's
doing
going to
here.
be the
Yeah.
villain of this thing, so yeah.
Mhm.
The logo is interesting. That has some very World Between Worlds
Lucasfilm looking, you
vibes.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. There's some definite.
You notice that?
Yeah, yeah.
hmm
There's some of that. There's some of Fallen
Pretty
Order had those
cool.
little meditation spots. There's kind of some of that stuff.
Mhm.
There's kind of those vibes in
Yeah,
there. The stars and all that stuff. Interesting things there. I don't know.
it's interesting. Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, if it, I mean, it could involve the world between worlds again. I don't know. That's just
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
interesting
It may
idea.
not. It may
Yeah, it may not. It might just be a
right.
cool design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the logo kind of makes you think of it.
But yeah, I'm super excited for the Ahsoka series. I loved Rosario Dawson in the role, and I'm excited to see more for sure. And
Same.
also set in this Mandalorian time period is Rangers of the New Republic. Um, and this is going to be again from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. It will intersect with future stories and culminate into a climactic story event, as Nicole was mentioning. So
Mhm.
yeah, what do you guys think of Rangers of the New Republic? I mean,
So I'm again,
You
I'm
think
very
Cara Dune's going to be
excited.
in this one?
See, that's what I'm thinking.
I
I'm
was thinking
wondering
that
if
too.
this is where they're gonna if they're going to move Kara, would they do that? Is she
hmm
going to be on? I
Yeah,
guess
I
we're
think it
gonna
makes
see.
sense.
We'll tell.
Yeah.
But I am very excited
I agree. I
to
think
have new
this is.
characters and see where they go.
Sorry, I kept on stepping on you there. um, yeah, I think this is where Kara shows up too.
Hmm.
I don't know if this
But
is like her
again, time
show,
will tell.
but I think she'll be a part of that. Yeah.
hmm
I
Or
Definitely.
I
again,
love the title.
are we
Love
right?
the
Or
title.
are we going to again? Are they going to move within the different shows? Could
Yeah.
we
Right.
see of some of that? Crossing over and going into the show, making cameos there, and
Yeah.
I think
time
that
will tell.
very well could be. Yeah. And if if we're done with that one, we can move on to the next one. And since seeing Solo, and seeing Donald Glover's performance as Lando, I've really been wanting a Lando series. I wanted to see, what happens next for Lando. How does he, kind of acquire Cloud City on Bespin? How do the Tabana gas mines? How does he get into all that stuff? Lobot, you know, all those things were interesting to me. So it's saying that Lando will return on a brand new event series for Disney Plus. Justin Simeon, creator of Dear White People and a huge Star Wars fan, is developing this story. Thoughts on Lando?
Yeah. Well, I think with Lando, I'm wondering if this is the compromise, because we all know we did not hear Solo 2. So I wonder if that's the compromise, and if we will see Kira and the rest of the gang kind of return into Lando series, as the compromise with the fans. Or is it really just going to be 100% Lando and we won't see Kira, we won't see anything else, and it's all brand new? But I'm very excited, especially because he really did an awesome job as Lando. And so I'm really excited for this episode. Well, series.
I would love to see some of those characters from Solo show up. Even if we don't get Han and Chewie, if we got Kira or Maul or somebody, like, I think that would be cool. If they work that in some way.
Let me toss this at you. And this isn't my idea. I saw this on Twitter from, I'll give credit where it's due, AJ at SWBF Express. He says, so my prediction for the Lando series is this. Billy D. Williams will return as Lando post-TROS. He will tell stories of his past to a group of people, and we will see the actual stories through Donald Glover's Lando.
Huh.
I would love that, because
that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool idea.
Yes.
I don't know that that'll happen, but I think that's
idea.
a cool idea.
Yes.
That is a cool idea. And, I mean, in Rise of Skywalker, Lando even alluded to setting out to, like, find where Janna comes from and everything. So yeah, I mean, you
telling
could do
the
that,
stories
or
of that as it's and then Donald Glover gets to act that stuff out. Yeah, that would be
right. Right, maybe as they're on that discovery, they, like you said, where there's some flashbacks to Donald Glover and
right.
some of his. Yeah, wow, that's a really cool idea.
It's a cool idea. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that'll happen, but I think that's an amazing idea.
I do.
That is an amazing idea. They need to send that idea straight to Lucasfilm.
Right.
This is what we want.
Somebody hire this guy.
Hope you're not too far along.
Exactly.
And then we also got a little more information on Andor. Andor is created by Tony Gilroy, who worked on Rogue One, and it's set to arrive actually in 2022. So this might actually come after Mandalorian season 3. So we have Diego Luna back as Cassian Andor, joined by Stellan Skarsgård, and I think is it Genevieve O'Reilly returning as Mon Mothma?
Yeah.
And we're also going to get K2SO is going to be back. I'm trying to think of the actor who plays K2SO. Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk. So yeah, production kicked off 3 weeks ago in London, and we got kind of a sizzle reel of just some behind the scenes stuff. So I'm very excited for Andor. I love Rogue One. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies ever made. And I think it's a really compelling story to see kind of a spy series feel in the world of Star Wars with Cassian and the beginnings of the rebellion versus the Empire. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more stories, because, when Rogue One came out, it was more like, oh, now this is the real Suicide Squad right here. This is it. And we all knew it. So it's nice that they're going to go back. They're going to visit. They're going to go deeper. And we're going to get to know those characters even more and not just a one and done, which is nice.
Yeah. And we talked about this a little bit in the intro, but this one is filming now. In England, I believe. I think this is the one that said that they were filming in Boston, and so everyone was all excited because it was they thought it was in like Massachusetts, but it's actually Boston, England. or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna film a Star Wars series in Boston.
Yeah.
There's all these buildings around.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, they have a volume over there, right? I think Kathleen said that they actually have 3 now,
That's
if
true.
I
They are
heard that
probably doing
right.
all this stuff in the
So
volume. So
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure they have one in LA, and I think I heard England, and I think I heard Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, they need all these to pump out all these shows they're making.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
makes sense. I love the logo, by the way, of the Andor title
Oh
Yeah,
card.
yes,
cool with
it's awesome.
with the
Very
Republic
cool
little
looking.
symbol in there.
Hmm. Um, and then we had this one was kind of a surprise to me. We had the announcement of Leslie Headland's show because we had heard she was going to
Yeah.
be behind a show for Disney Plus, and it's going to be called The Acolyte, and it's a mystery thriller that will take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. So, not only is this going to be kind of a dark side type of tale, possibly. It's also happening at the end of the High Republic, and, could we get first of all, the title, The Acolyte, I mean, I know we've heard about the Acolytes of the Beyond and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not too
Yeah.
familiar with what that is. Adam, if you can shed some light on that, or how this might tie into the Sith or,
So
something like
Acolytes of
that.
the Beyond they've popped up a little bit. I think Aftermath is like the first time that you really get that mention of Acolytes of the Beyond, and they're really like, Rise of Skywalker has cultists, and they're kind of like that. They're kind of more like going to try to find these relics of Sith Lords past, and kind of keep them alive through finding these relics and things of that nature. Actually, interesting, and this was never mentioned in the movie, but Ochi of Bastoon from Rise of Skywalker is actually an acolyte.
Okay.
Which is just weird, interesting tie-in. Yeah, that's kind of mainly what they
Yeah.
are. So yeah, that's the first thing I thought of too, is Acolytes of the Beyond, and if this is maybe telling a little bit of their story, where they come from.
Mhm.
I've seen ideas that maybe Plagueis might show up in this somehow. You start talking about emerging dark side powers, and this is
Yeah.
200
Mhm.
years prior
Yeah.
to um, Phantom Menace.
That would be
We don't know how
awesome.
long Plagueis lived. He's not really in canon, actually, except for in Revenge of the Sith. So
Mhm.
maybe. So
Man, if we got Plagueis, I'd be super pumped about that. And I just think it's going to be cool to get kind of a dark side story here and
yeah,
focus in on the quote unquote villains.
right.
Hmm. Yeah,
Nicole, any
it's
thoughts on this one?
well, I mean, so I don't have much, I'll be honest, because I feel like this is a clean slate for them. It really is when you think about it, because we know the books haven't yet come out, so we're not even going to be able. We know that Yoda's coming back. We know that we have a new Wookiee, so we're
Mhm.
finding out some of these new characters. But beyond that, are they going to be in this series? We don't know. We really don't know. So it's just going to be
Hmm.
pretty interesting to see where this is and where it sits in the long run. It. We already know Yoda's still alive, but is he going to make an appearance? We don't know. So I'm keeping a
Right.
pretty open mind to this project.
Yeah, and I think it's going to expand. I think it's really great that it's going to expand just beyond the novels and the comics. That we're going to get
Hmm.
a series out of
Yep.
this era,
This is what we talked
which
about from the
I love.
beginning. They mentioned that this is
Hmm.
starting out
Hmm.
books and comics. We said there's no reason they can't expand into other mediums, and here we go. We got a TV series. So
Hmm. Yep. And we also have another animated series that's coming hopefully soon. We have the Bad Batch, which is the spinoff of the Clone Wars series, and it says they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone Wars. So, Nicole, to answer your question about the Bad Batch and when it takes place, it's gonna be right after the Clone War. Um, so Yeah, it doesn't have a date or anything on here, but it just says it will arrive exclusively on Disney Plus. It looks like they have a lot of it done based on the trailer and everything. We kind of have a full trailer and everything, but I'm not sure. Maybe sometime in 2021, I'm hoping so.
Yeah, I kind of anticipate it'll be in 2021. I think it's going to be one of our in betweens now and the next Mandalorian season because we know, I mean, so excited that we're going to see Fennec, but
Yeah.
Younger Fennec. So it's really awesome that we're going to get that. So that's why I think it's going to be before the next season. Just it's a nice little between for all of us.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel that for sure.
I'm with you.
Mhm.
You think
Yep.
Ming-Na Wen will voice Fennec?
I hope so.
That'd be cool.
I really do.
think
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
And
saying
I
yeah.
also I think maybe the reason I think that she might. So when last week when she showed up and we're like, oh, there she is, right? And we hadn't seen her since the Gunslinger. And when she had retweeted, well, I want the fox with my name. Because if you notice, they didn't give her an emoji. And so she had done the fox. And I'm kind of like, I think she's in it. I think she's really in
That would
this.
be cool.
And for us, we didn't realize that she was going to be in the Bad Batch at that moment. So I think that was kind of like her little, by the way, there's more coming. I'm not going anywhere. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think she gave us a little
she
teaser
could
without
have.
us knowing.
It's a good catch.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
good
good
catch.
point. And she could have very well recorded things while she was on set for The
Exactly.
Mandalorian.
Sure.
Who knows?
Exactly.
Or she can record in a closet because
So
we know that never happens.
yeah, very well in the closet from home. Who knows? So here's an interesting one. Star Wars Visions.
Yes.
So this
This
says
is interesting.
presenting all new creative takes on the galaxy far, far away. Star Wars Visions will be a series of animated short films celebrating Star Wars through the lens of the world's best anime creators. It will bring 10 visions from several of the leading Japanese anime studios, offering a fresh and diverse cultural perspective to Star Wars. So that sounds interesting. I'm not sure what exactly to expect with that one, but definitely in the anime style.
Yeah, I'm not usually a huge anime fan, but I'm interested to see what we got going on here. People have been clamoring for something with Star Wars anime for years. I know we got one with Lost Stars, which I haven't checked out yet, but I'm interested in this for a couple reasons. First, kind of check that out, see if maybe that gets me into a little bit of anime style, a little more than I am now. But also because these are it seems like 10 more episodic instead of serial looks at the galaxy. So we might get some maybe new things here, maybe some new looks at some things we already know. So I'm very interested to see where these 10 episodes go.
Yeah. Definitely curious.
I think it's going to give us a new look on artwork as well.
Yes.
As we know with The Mandalorian, we have beautiful concept art that can grace museums, that can grace our walls. So I think that that's what might be happening with Visions, is that we're going to get another take of Star Wars in artistry. And I think as long as we have a fresh mind and are willing, I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Agreed. And I think we have one more other Disney Plus series on the slate here. We have a droid story. And Anthony Daniels has been teasing that C-3PO isn't done yet,
Yes.
and, he's been teasing that. He probably knew about this one. So there's going to be a special Star Wars adventure, a droid story. This epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by legendary duo R2-D2 and C-3PO. So any thoughts on a droid story?
Well, I love droids, so I am very much looking forward to seeing them. I know I've been watching Anthony Daniels and I know exactly what tweets you're talking about because I would go, oh, was he talking about the Lego Christmas store or holiday special? My bad. Or is it both? I think it was both. I think he knew, and I'm very excited because I think this is going to give us more of an opportunity to get to know more droids and to know more about C-3PO and R2-D2, which actually it's interesting because, earlier we were talking about masters and apprentices, and all of a sudden we have new droids, and they could be the masters.
Teaching, yeah,
and
right.
the new droid being the
Yeah.
apprentice.
Yeah.
They're gonna have an apprentice. Yeah, I mean, I'm
C-3PO
gonna be a
would the
little bit of a
worst
downer on
master
this
in the
one.
world.
You're forgiven early.
I mean, I love R2 and C-3PO, but I will say that, when I went to watch Clone Wars and then when I rewatch Rebels, sometimes I will skip the droid episodes. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, okay, I want to get to the Big Mac.
Well, I'll say there's episodes where
give this a chance.
there's episodes with like droids that and not C-3PO, not R2, kind of like the whole the Clone Wars episode. I'm gonna forget that little general guy's name because I've blocked that out of my head. But there's that episode that I don't particularly like, that whole arc, and so those I understand. But I think this might actually be like a sleeper. I think there's a lot of potential here for some heart, for some good stories. I think there might be. I think there's not potential, more than potential. I think there's room for this one to become bigger than it sounds.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. And no matter what, I'm happy for Anthony Daniels.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this. Oh, sorry, Nicole, I did it again. I got to stop doing that.
God, Josh.
It's okay. I was just gonna say, I think I'm loving this. So Star Wars, when we're thinking about this, and this is just something that's just come to my mind, they've always said in Star Wars, we always reuse what we have, right? We still have Warwick around. We still have Hayden Christensen around. We still have Anthony Daniels around. Watch what we're going to do. Watch. Trust us and watch.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy this. And I think that that's what they're doing. I think they're really giving us as much love as we can. I mean, these amazing actors and actresses are going to be, this is their legacies in the long run. Like, they're always going to be with us through the ages because they're leaving this beautiful legacy. And I think it's interesting that I'm thinking about that Star Wars is taking, again, all these amazing actors and actresses and going, no, we're not done yet. Watch what they can do, because even at these other parts of their lives, they're doing awesome, and we're going to show you. So this is something I just noticed. Little bit side road.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, and I think they always say at Disney, there's no idea is ever dead. And in the same vein, when you have these actors and characters that have been brought to life, you use them while you have them around still. So I like that perspective.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you guys something before we jump into our Mandalorian review. I wanted to ask,
Don't make me pick a
out of all
favorite.
these? Yep, I'm gonna make you pick something. I like making people pick things. See, that's why I do the weekly polls all the time.
Uncomfortable.
So I want to know, out of all these, what is your most anticipated release that's going to be coming out, and then what is your dark horse? Like, what do you think is going to surprise people and be kind of that dark horse of the bunch here? So Nicole, let's start with you if you're ready.
Oh, great. See, I have
right
to
on
take
the spot.
first. You got time, man. Okay, so I think
I can
I'm
go
going
first if you want.
Oh no, I got this. So if it's not in the series, I mean, if it's just based off of the series, I'm going to say Ahsoka and the Rangers. So I think those are my tops. But if I had to include the movies, then it's going to be Rogue Squadrons on the top. If I'm going there, but just series, because I love Ahsoka. I can't wait for that whole series. The dark horse, it might be Acolytes. Because we don't know a lot yet. True. And I think it's going to be our surpriser, because until January, we know very little. So I think that's our dark horse, because we just don't.
Adam, what about you?
Well, I mentioned at the top that my most anticipated right now is Rogue Squadron, like Nicole. if we're talking just Disney Plus, then I'd be between Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. And then my
that too.
dark horse. I mean, there's so many. Like I'm super
Right? I
excited
know.
about it's not Agents, Rangers of the New Republic. Super excited about that. Dark Horse, and I just mentioned a little bit ago, Droid Story might be that. But I mean, The Acolyte has to be up there too. But yeah, I'll stick with Droid Story. I think there's some potential there for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I know you didn't want to do
quite
that,
welcome.
but I made you anyway.
Like, how can we not have the trio, you guys? Like, maybe I have to throw in Kenobi too, because I feel like if I do Kenobi as well, we have to have the trio. Yeah. Think about it: Kenobi, Ahsoka, and Vader. That's our trio right there. So I gotta.
Absolutely.
I'm like Adam. I'm throwing that one in.
I mean, for me, I'm very excited about Ahsoka. You know, I want to see the continuation of the Ezra and Thrawn, what happened at the end of Rebels. I really want to see that. I've been looking forward to that for a long time, but I think my most anticipated has to be Obi-Wan, because ever since the purchase of Lucasfilm by Disney, I've been wanting an Obi-Wan series, and the fact that Hayden is coming back and he's coming back as Darth Vader, I'm just so excited for this series, and I can't wait. So that's got to be my most anticipated, and then my dark horse is also the Acolyte, because getting a look at the dark side, and I think that could be the dark horse surprise series that's going to come out. That's going to be really great. So that's where I'm at with that. And I think that wraps up our talk about all of the Star Wars Disney Plus series and movies that are coming out in the future.